You've felt it your whole life, haven't you? Like something powerful was always hiding inside you, waiting. You looked around and saw others finding success, happiness, love, and yet no matter how hard you tried, your life never really started. Nothing ever seemed to flow the way it did for them. You've suffered, you've sacrificed, you've waited, and somewhere deep inside you whispered to yourself, there has to be more to my life than this. Let me tell you something most people will never understand. You are not late, you are not behind, you are right on time, because you are a chosen one. And for chosen ones, the real story doesn't begin at 20 or even 30. It begins at 40. Why? Because God has been preparing you, molding you, testing you. He wasn't ignoring you. He was building you in silence. And now, your time has finally come. This video is not just something you found, it's something your soul has been calling for. Because what I'm about to reveal will explain everything you've been through and why your true life is only just beginning. You've always wondered why your life felt delayed, like you were stuck in a season that never seemed to end. While others built families, careers, and legacies in their 20s and 30s, you were walking through fog, battling battles no one else could see. It wasn't laziness, it wasn't lack of ambition. Something inside you always told you that your path would be different. And that voice was right. Because chosen ones aren't made in the spotlight, they're forged in the dark. While others were being celebrated, you were being prepared. Prepared through pain, through silence, through rejection. And while the world thought you were behind, heaven was whispering, not yet. You weren't forgotten. You were hidden. There's a difference. Forgotten means abandoned. Hidden means protected. Protected from premature exposure, protected from the wrong people, protected from the battles you weren't yet ready to win. See, when God chooses someone for a divine mission, He doesn't rush. He takes His time. He puts you through seasons of obscurity so you can be strengthened. Every delay was a layer of armor. Every disappointment was training. Every year that felt like nothing was happening was, in fact, a divine strategy unfolding behind the curtain. You couldn't see it then, but everything had a reason. And the reason you felt invisible was because you were being preserved for a time such as this. People didn't understand your silence. They mocked your loneliness. They questioned your progress. But you couldn't explain what you didn't yet understand yourself. You just knew that you were different. You were never meant to bloom early, because what God is doing in you requires a deeper foundation. That takes time, and now that time is coming to an end. The years of silence weren't wasted, they were sacred, because it's only in the hidden years that a chosen one is truly born. Everything you've been through, the betrayals, the losses, the nights you cried alone and the mornings you woke up still broken, none of it was random. The pain wasn't there to destroy you. It was there to shape you. Every time you were rejected, every time someone left you, every time you felt like you gave your all and received nothing in return, something deeper was happening beneath the surface. You weren't being punished. You were being purified. Because a chosen one can't carry power without first learning how to carry pain. The deeper your purpose, the deeper your wounds had to go. But in those very wounds, God was planting strength. Quietly, carefully, consistently. So that one day when the moment came, you wouldn't just survive, you would stand and not shake. And maybe you didn't understand it at the time. Maybe you questioned why life felt unfair, why you had to carry so much while others seemed to glide through life untouched. But you see, those who are called to deeper impact must walk through deeper fire. And you, chosen one, you were being prepared for something beyond what your eyes could see. That heartbreak you went through, it taught you discernment. That financial struggle, it taught you discipline. That friend who betrayed you, they taught you how to guard your spirit. Nothing was wasted. Not a single tear, not a single disappointment. It all added weight to your anointing, because God never sends a warrior into battle without first breaking them down and building them back up stronger than before. So when you look back at those years, the years that felt like suffering, like loneliness, like defeat, understand now that they were sacred. They were part of your training, and that pain you endured wasn't meant to make you bitter. It was meant to make you wise. Because now, at this moment in your life, you don't just have a calling, you have scars that prove you've earned it. And it's those very scars that will become your testimony. The pain was never your enemy. It was your preparation. And just when the pain seemed unbearable, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, something else happened. You found yourself completely alone. People began to distance themselves. Friends you once trusted disappeared. Even family started to misunderstand you. Suddenly, your circle got smaller and your world got quieter. It felt like abandonment, but it wasn't. It was divine isolation. God had to pull you away from the noise so you could finally hear Him clearly. He had to strip away the distractions so you could meet the version of yourself He was trying to reveal all along. Because as long as you stayed surrounded by people who didn't carry your calling, you would continue to question your value, your voice, your vision. So He separated you, not to punish you, but to protect the process. That loneliness you felt, that heavy silence you walked through, it wasn't a sign that you were forgotten. It was proof that you were chosen. Because isolation is the womb of transformation. When God isolates a soul, He does it to refine them. You weren't meant to stay in the crowd. You were never created to be ordinary. And so while others thrived in togetherness, you were being strengthened in solitude. That's why nothing ever felt like it fit. That's why certain rooms drained you. That's why conversations felt empty. Because you were outgrowing the environment that once held you. God had to pull you away to raise you up, because elevation always requires separation. And now you're starting to understand it. The silence wasn't punishment, it was preparation for revelation. The distance wasn't rejection, it was redirection. You were being unhooked from everything temporary so you could step fully into the eternal. And now, after years of wondering why you had to walk alone, you're beginning to see the truth. The people you lost couldn't go where you're going. The comfort you once had couldn't survive the calling you're about to carry. So God did what only He can do. He isolated you so you would finally realize that your strength, your power, your destiny was never in the crowd. It was always in you. Everything you've gone through, every delay, every heartbreak, every season of silence and isolation was not only shaping your character, it was maturing your wisdom. Because as a chosen one, you're not just called to carry light, you're called to lead. And leadership without wisdom is dangerous. If your breakthrough had come too early, you might have ruined it with your own hands. If the doors had opened at 20, your ego might have walked through them before your spirit was ready. But God, in His mercy, slowed everything down, not to punish you, but to protect what He placed inside you. He allowed you to age like fine wine. He let you mature under pressure. And now, your wisdom isn't just theoretical, it's lived, it's felt, it's been earned through fire. You don't react the same way you used to. You don't chase what you used to crave. You've seen enough. You've lost enough. You've survived enough to know that true power is silent and real strength doesn't shout. That kind of discernment doesn't come at 21. It doesn't come when you're still trying to impress people who don't even matter. It comes after you've been broken, tested, humbled, and restored. It comes after you've stopped needing validation from others, because you've finally learned how to validate yourself. That's why 40 isn't late, it's right on time. It's the age where your wisdom is no longer raw, it's ripe. And when your wisdom ripens, so does your authority. You're no longer led by emotion, you're led by revelation. You don't panic when things fall apart because you've already been through worse and survived. You know what it's like to have nothing, to start over, to rebuild from ashes, and that knowledge gives you a quiet confidence the world can't fake. It's not arrogance, it's experience. It's the difference between someone who's read about the fire and someone who's walked through it barefoot and still came out glowing. That's who you are now. That's what these years have given you. And that wisdom, the kind that only comes through time and tears, is exactly what makes this next chapter of your life not only powerful but unstoppable. Now it all starts to make sense. The waiting, the isolation, the pain, the slow ripening of your wisdom, it wasn't just a series of unfortunate delays, it was a divine strategy. You were hidden for a reason, not buried, not forgotten, but hidden. Because when something is precious, it isn't left out in the open. It's guarded, protected, kept away from careless hands. That's what God did with you. He hid you because the world wasn't ready. And maybe you weren't ready either. Not yet. Not until the layers of ego had been stripped away. Not until the hunger for approval had been burned out. Not until you no longer needed the spotlight to feel seen. Only then could the real unveiling begin. Being hidden was frustrating. You had gifts, but no platform. You had vision, but no voice. You had fire, but no place to release it. And that made you doubt yourself. You started to wonder if you missed your chance, if maybe you weren't as chosen as you once believed. But here's the truth. God doesn't reveal His finest work too early. If He had lifted the curtain before the time was right, the stage would have crushed you. The applause would have distracted you, the pressure would have broken you, but now you've been through the fire, you've been through the silence, and you've come out not just stronger, but clearer. You know who you are. And more importantly, you know who you're not. The world measures success by how fast you rise, but heaven measures it by how deep you've been rooted. And you, chosen one, have been planted deep, hidden beneath the surface while others bloomed quickly. But what they built fast will fade just as fast. What you've built slowly in secret will stand for generations. That's why God hid you, not to delay you, but to preserve you. Because what's coming next will require everything you've become. You won't need to fight for attention, it will come looking for you. You won't need to prove your worth, it will radiate from you. And when the world finally sees you, they won't understand how you rose from nowhere. But you'll know you didn't come from nowhere. You came from the shadows, from the silence, from the sacred place where only God could see you. There's something sacred about the age of 40. It's not just another birthday. It's a spiritual threshold. A moment when heaven whispers now. You might think it's just coincidence that things are finally coming together by chance, but nothing about your journey has ever been random. You didn't survive all that darkness just to arrive here by accident. This is divine timing, because the number 40 has always carried weight in the spiritual realm. 40 days of rain in the flood. 40 years in the wilderness. 40 days Jesus fasted before stepping into his calling. You see, God uses 40 as a number of preparation, a number of transition, a number of new beginnings. And for you, chosen one, this isn't just a number, it's a signal. At 40, something shifts, not just in your age, but in your spirit. You're no longer who you used to be, and finally you're okay with that. You've stopped begging to be understood. You've stopped explaining your vision to those who can't see it. You've stepped into a new confidence, not the loud kind, but the kind that walks into a room and changes the atmosphere without saying a word. That kind of shift doesn't happen overnight. It's built through decades of pruning, refining, testing, and growing. You're arriving at 40 not empty and exhausted, but full of wisdom, clarity, purpose, and undeniable authority. And this time, when the door opens, you'll be ready. Not eager to impress, but grounded in truth. Not desperate for the spotlight, but aligned with your mission. This is why everything had to wait. This is why nothing worked before. Because if it had, you would have settled. You would have poured your gifts into places too small for what God intended. But now your eyes are open. You've been stripped of illusions. You no longer want what the world wants. You crave alignment, impact, eternal value. And now that your soul has matured into its rightful shape, the timing is perfect. Because when destiny and maturity meet, there's no force on earth that can stop it. The shift is real. The season has changed. You're not the same, and thank God for that. At 40, your life doesn't end. It begins. Everything in your life has been leading to this moment. The silence, the struggle, the isolation, the slow unfolding of your identity, none of it was wasted. It was all building you for now. You don't have to chase your purpose anymore. You've become it. You don't have to force doors open. You are the key. And now that the preparation is complete, heaven is ready to release what has been waiting behind the veil for so long. It's not about potential anymore. It's about activation. God didn't bring you this far just so you could survive. He brought you this far so you could lead, influence, shift, and awaken others. But first, you must make peace with who you are. Not who you used to be, not who people expected you to be, but who you've become in the fire. You are no longer hidden. You are no longer unsure. This is your time to rise, not with noise, but with certainty. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. Your life will speak louder than your words ever could. Everything you've learned in the shadows is now fuel for the spotlight. Every scar you carry is now a badge of honor. And every delay you once cursed has now become your divine evidence that timing matters more than speed. You were never meant to arrive early. You were meant to arrive right on time. And chosen one, your time is now. You carry answers inside you. You carry healing. You carry light. And the world is starving for what you've been growing in silence. Stop doubting. Stop hesitating. You've already paid the price. The trials are behind you. The clarity is within you. The oil is on you. You're not who you used to be, and you'll never be that person again. The season has changed. The heavens are open, and all of heaven is watching, waiting for you to step into what has always been yours. Not someday, not later. Now you were chosen, you were preserved, you were prepared, and now you are released. Remember, the journey of the chosen one is not easy, but it is always worth it. Your struggles, your solitude, your patience. They are not signs of failure, but signs of a deeper purpose unfolding. Every challenge you faced was a step closer to the destiny you were born to fulfill. At 40, your life is not just beginning, it is awakening to its fullest potential. So stand tall, embrace your story, and move forward with confidence, knowing that you are exactly where you're meant to be. The world needs your light now more than ever. Step into your calling boldly because you were chosen, and this is your moment to shine.